All right, I am here. Sorry for the little delay there. We're just getting things kind of tidied up and in order. Welcome to another broadcast. So glad that you're here. And we're going to talk about an issue that comes up a whole lot. But we're going to also offer a solution to this thing, okay? And what am I talking about? Talking about all this fighting that's been going on. You hear about the whole thing about the cruise ship? The latest cruise ship, yep. They had to make a whole U-turn because folks were acting up. We're going to talk about that. But like I said again, we're not going to just talk about it and leave it there. We're going to talk about it from an angle, a perspective on how can we stop this from happening. All right, that's how we're going to do it tonight, okay? So thanks again for tuning in. Let's give it about a little under a minute, give people time to get on, and then we're going to get started. All right, about another, let's say, 20 seconds. Let's give it about another 20 seconds, and then we'll get started, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for tuning in to another broadcast. Guys, I hope you guys had a wonderful day today. Today is September the 16th. Wow, am I reading that right? Yeah, September the 16th, 2025. And it is right now 98 degrees here in the beautiful state of Arizona. Anyway, wonderful day here. I hope you guys had a great one. And yep, as always, the news continues, doesn't it? It just keeps rolling and rolling. Things are happening. Some people are talking about the same things. Other people are just talking, you know. And but we try to find some space in there to really try to make these broadcasts and these videos and shorts and stuff that we do, you know, meaningful, so that you can walk away with something a little bit smarter, a little bit more informed. And, you know, that's the kind of things that we try to do here. So make sure you're checking us out on, you know, on our shorts page, you know, which is right here. Also on our Samba Tree YouTube page, because I'm uploading stuff on there constantly. Instagram, TikTok, we are all over and putting stuff up here. So make sure you're checking that out. Today I actually posted an article. Well, yeah, I was up. What time I was probably up 4 a.m. I guess I was writing that. That was, you know, I just have these weird sleeping habits here where I just, you know, sometimes it'll be my time. It may be like 10:30. I start falling asleep, and then I'll just get up like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll just get up and maybe start writing or start doing something or whatever, and then I just go back to sleep again. I was actually reading something. They said that's how it should be. I was like, huh? Anyway, so yeah, that was one of those weird things, because again, I'm learning to listen to my body, so that's what happens to be. But anyway, so yeah, so today I got up and I saw this article about a woman by the name of Jackie Johnson, and basically, long story short, she owns a fat burger restaurant in Chicago. And I was trying to think, I was trying to remember this with my daughter. I didn't know if I went to it was either Fat Burger or Whataburger. I can't remember. I'm really trying. I think it might have been Whataburger. I'm not sure. But anyway, but Fat Burger for sure. I've either one I've heard nothing but good things about it, at least for me. I just haven't been there in a while. So, but yeah, Fat Burger, in case you don't know, was founded by a black woman back, I think, in the 40s, and her husband at that time. And then, over time, divorce unfortunately came into the picture. But she continued on with the whole vision and everything. And as you can see, Fat Burger is a nationally known brand that a lot of people still like. And it's funny, I'll read articles like this, and then later on, as I was like, maybe I'll find me a Fat Burger. I said, no, not today. Not today. Maybe that'll be like at some point, but not today. But anyway, so in this article, and I'll put it up on the screen, they were talking about how this woman who really interesting story here. I actually posted it on our community page here, just some of the excerpts, and I'll just go through it very quickly here. This is a little bit of background of her story. It said, growing up on the South Side, Jackson's first job was flipping burgers, serving customers, and singing jingles at a Burger King. She dreamt of one day owning her own fast food joint. After college, she worked as an educator in the Chicago public school system and then as a real estate agent. She later opened several Kilwins franchises in Chicago. Can someone tell me what Kilwins is? I meant to look that up, but I don't. I'm assuming that's like some kind of fast food thing. And Kilwins. Y'all tell me what that is. In Chicago, when the pandemic wreaked havoc on her franchises, she wasn't sure what to do next. Jackson's $1.2 million grant will help pay for the conversion of a vacant Seaway Bank building into a fast casual restaurant, which happened. And it says, and then she said, I'm going to take this building that has been in the community for 10 years and transform it into something for the community. Jackson said, I'm really, really excited about the brand, and I think it's something the community will appreciate. And that was an article that was written in 2022. All right. So, and by the way, this is her right here. All right. That's her back in the day. How many of y'all remember those old Burger King uniforms? Unfortunately, yes, I remember those. I remember them. Yeah, but they were kind of going out, when I was born. But I do faintly remember those uniforms. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back here. Let's fast forward to 2025 now. Jackie Jackson said she opened Fat Burger, last November, and since then has added extra security measures to protect her small business and employees, including installing security doors, protective glass windows for the counter. And she says, I even had panic buttons installed. I have a big 8-inch rod iron fence. I have a very high-tech security system, and now I have the Chicago Police Department that's going to be here. Wow. And all of this was done because it wasn't the Klan, y'all. This wasn't the Klan that was going in there. She's trying to protect her people from black people, other black Americans, other black folks in there that are coming in there. This is true. This is true, y'all. It's true. We got to have to deal with it. But wait, there's more, okay? Because this story does turn out to be, a good one. Anyway, so she says, it was pretty scary. And, I'm very thankful that there was a concealed carry, which was a customer, and he used his gun to scare them off. What happened, and this was back last year, there was a group of teens, I'm not going to play the video here, but that basically bum rushed this restaurant, got into the back, and proceeded to beat up one of their employees. And they got this all on video. And so, but fortunately, like she said, the key factor here was a customer had a concealed carry. Well, there you go. For those of you, we got to ban all guns. Well, this happened to save someone's life here. And then she says this. She says, things are happening in the household where people need to be held accountable. I'm a former educator and I highly believe that it starts at home, she said. So when the foundation is not at home, that's when it spills into the schools and spills into the businesses and spills into the street. We're not just saying that, y'all. I said, if we don't handle business in our own houses, in our own neck of the woods, it's going to spill out into other areas. And when it spills out to other areas, they have their own ways of handling those things. So you can't get mad once that happens, right? So anyway, let's see. And then there's this, okay. And then I'll tell you the rest of the story. What then happens, which, the community came together and they basically, rallied around not only just the business, but this young man. And they raised some money for him so he can buy a car because he was taking Uber to his job every day. And so they got together and did that and all that. So all of that was great, how the community responded. But, I will say this, reaction is great, but proaction is even better. You know what I'm saying? In other words, some of the things she addressed there are things that we need to deal with now so that it doesn't get to that point. You understand? And that's what she was talking about there. But, in this story, the centerpiece of this story, unfortunately, is you have a group of kids who just automatically in their minds resorted to we're just going to go and fight. We're just going to fight. And it was more than likely over something stupid and dumb. And that's it. But folks, this is something that happens all the time. And what I want to show you is I put together this video montage of just the amount of things. I mean, this is just a few videos. This ain't even a whole lot here. This is just a few videos that I put together and I had to blur it out. And I'm hoping, YouTube doesn't give me any problems with this because I did blur out. I went all the way up to a certain point and then I blurred out the rest. But when I tell you the hundreds of thousands of fight videos that are being uploaded by other black folks on a regular basis on social media, this is something, unfortunately, is a part of the culture. All right. And let's take a look at this little short montage that I put together.
No, you let me go. Beat that down.
Oh, they jacking. Oh.
Bob Weed, dead homie. Get in right now, dead homie. Stop playing. 1, 2, 3. Get in there.
And now that last video that, like I said, I had to blur it out because, unfortunately you can't show all of that, which is, I would say actually, fortunately, because who wants to see all of that? But that's just a tiny sampling of the hundreds of thousands of videos just like that this is not being uploaded by the Klan. Okay. This is being uploaded by other black folks. Did you notice in one of those videos, this is a fight video, and someone put on there, please like and follow me. So just so that you understand how social media works, and I touched on this in our last broadcast, the way social media works basically is that it will promote things that they believe that will get the most clicks, the most reactions and things like that. And that does include fight videos. So yes, social media platforms do in part will promote some of this stuff. And I said the same thing about pornography, and this is a little extra on that. A while back, I mentioned that all of a sudden my timeline was just filled with all this pornography stuff. And then I finally figured out what was going on. If you're on Twitter, for example, Twitter will give you an option. Like if there's if someone posts something and there's an image, let's say they're talking, the story is about, I don't know, whatever. It could be martial arts or something like that, right? And then they'll put a blur over it and they'll say, this video is rated, whatever. If you want to watch it, click here, acknowledge that you're okay with that. Now, when I knew what the video was about, I was like, it's no big deal. I mean, I can handle this. I'm grown. I can watch this. You know what I'm saying? So I did it. And so what happened was that Twitter or X said, all right, then you're fine. Okay, cool. So now we're going to start pushing all this other stuff too. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't ask for all of that. And when I tell you, it just was an avalanche of stuff over and over again. I actually had to go through, I had to get rid of that, delete that account. Then I created another one that was completely clean. Completely clean. I ain't click on anything. I followed one person I think I followed Elon Musk just to say, okay, I'm just going to be straight. I'm not following anybody. This is going to be a clean one. I cleared out all my cash. I cleared out everything. So there was nothing on my phone. I mean, it was nothing on my phone like that anyway, but I'm saying I cleared out everything. Don't you know this thing still was pushing that stuff on my phone? And I was like, what the heck? And then I had to create another one. And then when I finally created that other one, then I guess it got the idea, okay, he must not want it. So my point is social media platforms by default, when you give it just an inch, it's going to take 10 miles. So it's by default going to promote that. But it can't promote what you as the subscriber don't provide to it. In other words, if you're not providing that content, it's not going to promote it. So the problem that we're encountering today is you have a ton of people within this demographic that's providing social media with all of this content going upside somebody's head, hitting somebody, shooting somebody, whatever. It's black folks that are giving social media this content. And so social media is like, okay, I mean, it seems like y'all really like it. We're going to promote it. And that's how it happens. And so when you try to explain that to people, what happens is they'll only hear half of the story and they just say, oh no, it's Elon Musk. Oh no, it's them. They're promoting it. Yeah, they are, but you're giving it to them. If you stop giving it to them, they don't have anything to promote. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's even like, I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but it's even like, you guys heard this story. It's in Jamaica. Is a private school that issued out a ban, and they said, they told the girls, they said, we don't want no more of these little baby hairs. I mean, if you read the post that they put up, they say curtains belong on windows, not on your forehead. I was like, God, I mean, they said it. That's what they said. They said curtains belong on windows, not on your head. And I was like, well, because I personally do not like them. That's just me. I mean, if you 40 years old and you finding baby hairs out of somewhere, I mean, you like that, I mean, that's you. But I know for me, I'm just like, it just gives a certain vibe that, I just honestly, I just don't, you know what I mean? And I don't hate you if you like that kind of stuff, but I just don't. And so apparently I'm not the only one. There's other people too that say the same thing. Well, anyway, but guess what? So I'm working on Midjourney, or, I'm doing like images. I was like trying to create these images of black women. It was, for a project that I was working on. And I told it exactly what I wanted to look like. And so it gave me images. I was like, okay, cool. But all of them were giving me that same hairline, them baby hairlines. I was like, whoa. I didn't ask for that. I'm trying to get a classy woman here that looks like this, that, or whatever. And let me describe the hair for you so that you can figure it out. I don't want that. and it was still giving me them freaking baby and them curtains. I don't want curtains, okay? I just want just a regular natural hairline, and that's it. That's all I wanted. But it kept pushing it. Well, what do you think it's getting that information from? It's gathering that information from what we provide to the algorithm. You understand? This is how it works, right? So anyway, so you got that. So this is what we're providing to the algorithm. Now, let's talk about the algorithm of life, okay? Now, lately, you've been hearing a lot of stories about all these fights that's going on these cruise ships, right? And you would think that, okay, a cruise ship is where you go and find peace, you relax, you chill, and you just at peace. How are you finding space to fight somebody? I mean, how do you go, you on a cruise ship and the first thing on your mind is you trying to knock somebody's lights out? Like, what is going on? And so the latest story, we don't know because there ain't no pictures up yet, but they're going to come out. And there's a high probability that the featured stars in this latest fight, looks a lot like who, right? But we don't know yet. Okay, so that's why I'm putting that disclaimer out, because there ain't I haven't seen any images out yet, but everything's pointing in that direction, unfortunately. But anyway, in this latest thing, this was Royal Caribbean. I didn't say Carnival Cruise. That's right. I didn't say that. Royal Caribbean, which is like the next step up. Okay. Royal Caribbean, they're leaving out of port in Miami, right? And they're going out for whatever reason. All of a sudden, the people start fighting at the kid pool. They say it started with 2 people, and then it turned out to an all-out brawl. And it was an older lady, unfortunately, that got caught somewhere in there, and they said she broke her ankle, broke her wrist, something like that. People got hurt, like severely hurt. And don't you know, this cruise ship had to make a whole U-turn to come back to let these people off. Now, just so you understand how major this really is, this isn't a car leaving a driveway, okay? Just so you understand how major this is. This is a whole cruise ship where everything is timed, everything is scheduled and everything like that. They didn't say, okay, well, we're going to schedule a just in case, situation for us to make a U-turn. No, they don't do that. Everything is scheduled all the way, because they got to do that because they're like, okay, we're working with this amount of fuel, we're working with this amount of supplies and all that stuff. So everything is perfectly timed. You are talking a multi-billion-dollar business, okay? This is a multi-billion-dollar business. And so just like we saw with Carnival Cruise having to change some rules, now all of a sudden Royal Caribbean is in a position where they're going to probably have to do the same thing, because people seemingly cannot control their emotions. And so here we go. Now, that last fight that you saw, in case, I showed like a string of fights for those that just came in, that happened on a Royal Caribbean cruise, but not this last one that I'm talking about. This happened about a month or so ago. It wasn't that long ago. Now, guess what the fight was over? Do you know what that fight was over? Let me put it on a screen here, because I have to show it to you officially, because if I say it, you're not going to believe it. But I'll just put it on the screen for you. The fight was over chicken. Yes. The fight was over chicken. The fight was over chicken. I should probably take a moment of silence on that, because every living stereotype has just come alive on that one. Moment of silence. The fight was over chicken. Okay. Now, I didn't bring you here, and I didn't go live here so that I can embarrass us and talk about our embarrassments and just wallow in that. No, I didn't. We're not doing that at all. what I'm doing is I'm showing you the problem first. Okay. And this is a real problem that is getting more and more and more of a problem, where we're seeing a lot of people, our people, who are just at a moment's notice are flipping on each other. We're fighting each other. A lot of black folks on any given day, freely will display to the whole universe just how much we hate each other. We do this all the time, and we're so committed to it. We will film ourselves beating our brains out, beating the brakes off of each other, and we will upload it to a system that we do not control, and entrust that system to spread it massively so that we can get likes and clicks. And then we don't say anything about it. But then when there's an issue where if a white person is involved, now all of a sudden then we get, you know how it goes, right? But what I want to address is, how do we fix that? What's the cause of that? Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about here. So tonight, this is actually a tie to Sabbatry, believe it or not. Okay. So now this is not the silver bullet to the problem, but it is a contributing factor. Now, many of you have heard about how the typical American diet is very low when it comes to the vitamins and minerals that we need in our food on a daily basis. And so when you take a cursory look at our diets here, you'll see that there's some critical things that we're missing. And the two that I want to focus on is vitamin K2, D3, and also magnesium. All right, those are the two things that I want to I want to focus on. And magnesium especially is very, very important. Very, very important. I say K2, D3 is actually the other way around. D3, K2. I thought that I was saying that backwards. Yeah, vitamin D3, K2. All right. So let's start off with that. Okay. So vitamin D3 or vitamin D. Okay. Let me just explain that real quick. Why is that so important? Well, vitamin D is very important. You know how I have been doing videos for quite some time, just screaming, hollering, doing whatever it is that I can do to get folks' attention. Why you need to be out in the sun, and especially those of us that have a lot of melanin in our skin. Well, this is very important. When we get exposure to the sun, our body is producing this vitamin D, right? And so what it does is it helps address some of these things when it comes to our temperament, our attitudes, and things like that. And when it comes to this here, it's very, very important. That one of the things it affects the serotonin that, that feel good chemical that our body produces, right? It helps produce that serotonin. So when you're outside and, if it's a very hot day, sunny day, and then, when you come in after being outside for a long time and all of a sudden you start feeling a little bit tired, right? Well, that's your body like, okay, it's resetting itself so that you can start resting and all of that. And then what you'll find is when you get in that regular exposure to sunlight on a daily basis, what happens is that you begin your natural your clock will begin to get reset, where after a while, you're not going to have any issues on going to bed on time because of that serotonin is on a regular schedule and it's producing what it needs to produce, that, that kind of thing. Right. And when you're not getting enough, it is directly linked to depression, mood swings, and poor decision making. For us as Black folks, I got to take this slow but I've been saying this for a long time. When you look at I wish I could show you, you could pull it up. If you look at a map of the country, of the United States, you will see that most black people live on the eastern part of the United States, going from, New York maybe a little bit higher than that, going all the way down all throughout the South and all, basically the same places we've been for a very long time. And a lot of these areas are not necessarily known for having a lot of sunlight. We get sunlight on the East Coast, like places like Florida, some pockets down south, you get a lot of sunlight, right? But when it's humid and all of that, what happens when it's too hot? What do we naturally do? As human beings, period, particularly human beings that are living here in Western culture, what do we tend to do when it gets too hot? Well, we tend to go inside our houses where it's nice and cool, where we have our air conditioning and all of that, right? But for those of us that have a lot of melanin in our skin, we can do that, but we need more sunlight than those that don't have as much melanin. Notice how I said that, because you have black folks who have lesser melanin, but they still considered black. Like, for example, my wife, she's a little bit lighter than me. She has lesser melanin. And so when she's outside, she don't need to be outside as long as I do. You understand? And so when those of us that have a lot of melanin, what's happening is we're living in a westernized mindset where we think that, okay, they went in the house, we're going to go in the house too. But yes, you do need to stay cool. I'm not saying you live outside. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you have to begin to value the importance of sunlight for you. You understand? Because if you are doing this dotting and going in and out just like everybody else, you're not getting enough sunlight. Your body is not producing enough vitamin D. And so that's why when you look at the scale, you'll see that all studies point to us as black folks in this country, we tend to be on the lower amount. We tend to be a lot more deficient when it comes to vitamin D. All right. And so to compensate for that, this is why you need to have, you take supplements, right? And so that's, so vitamin D is definitely something that we definitely need to have here. All right. And then now when it comes to in this case, we're talking about vitamin D3 and then K2, this other K2 part of it. Okay. Now K2 is something that it goes perfectly. It helps our bodies to better process that vitamin D. Right now, K2 is something that you can get it naturally. But the ways that you get it naturally, unfortunately, when you look at the American diet, particularly the black, when you look at, generally speaking, black American diet, because there is no way to nail down black people eat this and white people eat this in a multicultural, multifaceted society like we live in today, because we all tend to eat similarly, right? But this K2, you're going to find it in things such as hard and soft cheeses, egg yolks, butter. These are the natural ways you can get it, right? Butter, grass-fed butter, chicken liver, goose liver, and fish like salmon and eel and things like that. I'm not telling you to run out and get all of that, okay? Because I know some people are going to be, And so if you're not eating those things, then there's supplements that can provide you with that stuff. So that K2 can really help you with that. And so, so if you're looking for vitamin D, make sure you look for D3K2, which is something that we offer. Okay. So again, vitamin D3K2 is wonderful to help you in, producing that serotonin, to get you calm, to get you relaxed and all of that. So you're not just flipping off on things, right? Now, when it comes to magnesium on his other side here, magnesium is, I would say, is almost a little bit more important. All right. And I'll just read this little blurb here. Over half of Americans do not get enough magnesium, and studies show Black Americans on average get even less magnesium than whites. Magnesium is your body's natural chill pill. It regulates your nerves. It helps you stay calm and keeps you from snapping under pressure. Low magnesium, think more stress, more irritability, and more impulse outbursts. Ain't that something? Isn't that something? So that's the solution right here. So when you're looking at our diets and our drinking water for that matter is oftentimes stripped of a lot of these minerals. And because we're not getting a lot of this stuff naturally, this is the result. When you go back, when you scroll back in time a little bit and you look at Black Americans going backwards, yeah, Black folks were fighting each other, but it wasn't at this level. It wasn't at this level. See, we love to kind of blame, oh, it's 5G, it may be the vaccine and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying none of those things are factors, but what I am saying is this, is that it does start with how we treat our bodies, right? And how we're eating, right? That's a start. And I'm not saying these two things, vitamin D3, K2, and magnesium, is the silver bullet. Like I said before, if you take this stuff, everything's going to be all right. But I am saying this is a very good start. And this is something that you need to look into, including in your daily diet. Okay. And this is something that, like I said, we offer over on Sabbatry right now. We offer it. And a lot of y'all been jumping on this, and it's right here. So we got the vitamin D3, K2 right here. You get a 2-month supply there. And then also magnesium. We offer that as well. And I take both of these right before I go to bed at night. I take 2 pills a piece. And this really helps calm your nerves so that you're not, you know, that tendency you had just to flip off and just make a snap decision and all that. It does bring a sense of calmness to you. It's not like smoking, we ain't talking about smoking a joint and nothing like that. It's not that. It's nothing like that. But it's giving your body exactly what it's asking for, because the foods that we're taking in isn't providing us with this. You understand what I'm saying? So we would love for you to get it from us. But even if you don't, that's okay. Just get it. Add it to your diet. If we want to see a change in this whole behavior that we're seeing right now, where it's skewing, where people are becoming more violent, because see, here's the thing. I don't want that to be the new normal. You understand what I'm saying? I don't like seeing that. Like, it's like, well, okay, well, what did you say to her? Well, what did you do? Did you say something crazy? See, you mess with the wrong people and that's what you're going to get. Shoot, you catch me on a bad day, you don't know what you're going to get. That shouldn't be normal talk. I should be able to catch you on a bad day or a good day, and don't have to worry about you shooting my head off. You understand what I'm saying? Or you beating the brakes off of me because I asked a question you didn't like. You understand? And you can tell when you're like interacting with people or talking to people or listening to people, you could tell that there are numbers of people out here that a lot of people just going off on just crazy stuff. You know, we talked about yesterday's broadcast, people just crashing out on that whole Charlie Kirk thing. And it's like, did you not take 2 seconds to think about before you did that? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But what part of the problem is our diets. So this is why I'm really trying to advocate on this platform. This is what we're focused on, is us focusing on us. You understand what I'm saying? Another thing that we're doing is Nicole with our alternate day fasting program. We have that as well, alternate day fasting. And this is a class that my wife taught, a little over a month ago or so. And we had numbers of people that was in it and, got a lot of great feedback on it. She's going to be doing a video soon. Well, guess what? She has lost a total of 30 pounds. 30 pounds. I mean, if you see her now, some of y'all be like, huh, is that the same woman? Yes, it is. And so she taught a class on that, and it's available on our website on sabbatry.com. that you can go to. I'll just take you right to it. You can just go right to Samba University, I think it is. And it's right here. Alternate day fasting. It's right here. And this is a class that it's already recorded and everything. You get a ton of information. We have a support group and all that stuff. This is important, y'all. These things are important because these things help and aid in changing the narratives in our lives, getting in control of our weight, getting in control of our attitudes and how we act and we respond to things. It starts with how we treat ourselves. And that's what we're really focused on here, is beginning to get people to focus on you. I did a short yesterday, matter of fact, where I talked about how, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing online right now is man against the woman and the woman against the man and all of that. A lot of that stuff, what's happening is a lot of people are looking externally for the external to impact what's in here. In other words, you got men who are looking to women to fix what's in here, and then vice versa. You have that as well. You got women who are looking to men to fixing what's going on in here. And so again, it's what I'm saying is, if you want to start right, correctly, we could talk about counseling and all that other stuff, because there's more complex things that, you got to get to. But if you want to start this road to healing the right way, it starts with how you treat your own body, the stuff that you put in your own body first. That's where it begins. Okay. And so that's what we're committed to on this platform here on Samba Journeys. That's what we're committed to over on Samba Tree. We're committed to that as well. And so we talk about these issues that are going on, but we also want to present some real solutions that you can build on and that you can become a much greater version of yourself. And that's what we do here. That's what we talk about here. I was going to say this too, and we just, make sure you check out the site, sambatree.com, because what we're doing now is we're going through everything, and there's some things we're just going to make seasonal. One of the things that we're going to make seasonal is our juices. Okay. And so I'll just go here to I'll just show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Yep, here we go. I'll just bring this up real quick. Many of you guys really like these juices. These are very popular, but we're going to start making some of these things seasonal. So this one is going to be going away for a little bit. Our tropical juice combo pack. These juices here, they're going to be going away for a few months. So if this has been one of your favorites, we got soursop, guava, mango, and coconut. And again, no added sugars, no added preservatives. This is 100% juice straight across the board. If this is something that you're like, oh snap, I need to jump on that, you better jump on it now, because we're getting ready to take it off the shelves for a little bit, and then and we'll have something else we'll add something else to the site. But for the time being, we're going to make this seasonal. Okay. So if you're interested and you're wanting to jump on this now, because like I said, we're going to be removing this off the shelves. When I say really soon, I mean like really, really, really soon. So you make sure you jump on that. Okay. Other than that, that's the main things that I wanted to touch on. I mean, of course, we have the whole brain thing, the series that we've been working on, and then we have herbs that we have released, a whole herbs packages that address these different parts of our brains, when it comes to our adrenal glands, or it comes to our amygdala, when it comes to our prefrontal cortex and all that, limbic system and all that kind of stuff. There are herbs that can address all of those things. And so that's what we address here by, with these different herbs. But we also have a series that's going on as well over on Samba Tree YouTube page, where we're talking about all the different parts of the brain, of course. Make sure you're following that as well. And really, that's it, y'all. There's a lot going on, as you know, on social media. There's some hot topics that are going on right now that can get you all out in your emotions and your feelings and all of that. And see, I come on here as much as I do because I'm very passionate about, this kind of stuff, where I want people not to go there, because I know where those places can take you. When I'm talking about the stuff that they push, I see these games that these systems play with people all the time. And I tell you, it makes you so angry, when you see this and you're watching people, how they just easily fall and fold into this stuff. But these systems don't care about you, and they will literally run you dry if you allow it. So when we talk about this kind of stuff, when it comes to health and all of that, and I know these aren't popular topics, do take it very, very seriously, because these are keys that can really make a difference in your life and help you to make much better decisions, regardless of what it is that you're dealing with. Making little changes, incorporating that magnesium, that K2, D3 in your life and all of that. D3, K2, I keep mixing it up, but it's the same thing, in your life, making sure you add these things to your life, because it does make a huge difference. Okay. So that is all I have. I just wanted to jump on here real quick here, and we'll be talking more about that. And but make sure you continue to follow our community page and our shorts page and all that. I'm constantly going to have more information and all that coming up here. But make sure you stay locked in and let us know. Okay, if you have any questions or anything like that, hit us up. Okay, you guys take care and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll be talking again soon. Take care now.